Let me guess. You're the type of guy that wants to talk to people, but after a while, you either run out of things to say or you just get socially burned out. If that's you, let me help you out. Welcome to the best place for introverted men, where I help you win socially. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can learn to keep a conversation going without burning out. Before you can dive into the solution, you first have to dissect the problem, which is why you're burning out. And that leads into the question, what causes you to burn out socially? Ideally, it'd be one of these few things. The first one could be you're burning out because you're not physically prepared for social situations. I know that may sound crazy as if you're doing some kind of training or some kind of military regiment, something like that, but it's not. When it comes to talking, use more than just your mouth to talk. Use your mouth, you use your lungs, you use your throat, you use the muscles in your face, your diaphragm, you use all of that and more to talk. So if you're trying to be able to just go into a situation, use something, muscles that you haven't used for a while, or muscles you use every so often, it's no different than going to the gym once a month or once every 6 months and then expecting to be able to do that every single day just because you did it 6 months ago. So what's the result going to be after you decide, hey, I'm going to go do this for an extended period of time? You're going to be tired, you're going to be burnt out, and you're going to feel drained. Tell me, does any of that sound familiar to you? Where you go somewhere, maybe it's an event, maybe it's a get together, family reunion, something like that, and you begin just talking to people, just talking and talking and talking. And by the time you get home, you're exhausted physically, and you don't know why. You didn't lift anything, you didn't play any sports, you didn't do anything physical except talk. And now you're just feeling burned and tired. You just want to lay down because you overdid it. That's why, because you're using all of those muscles I talked about and you're not aware of the fact that you actually used all of those muscles. Another reason, being most likely the main reason you're burned out, is because it's a good chance that you're being closed-minded when you're talking to people, or when you're talking to somebody, you're talking about something that you don't really care about or you're not interested in, and you're just forcing yourself to be there and to listen to that person, not knowing that that takes up energy too. Because when you care about something, you're using emotional energy. It sounds crazy, but that's the way it works. If you don't care, then it won't be there. Similar to when you try to make everybody happy, and at the end of the day, you've made them happy, but you're not happy. And now you're miserable because you tried to make everybody else happy, and now you're not happy because you put yourself last, because you cared about everybody else except yourself. But in this case, when you talk about a conversation or something you really don't care about, and you just let it keep going on and on and on because you just want to be the nice person. You want to be nice. You want to be a nice guy because you don't want to be talking to somebody and just dismiss it because you don't care about the conversation, or maybe it's just something you just don't really want to talk about. And instead of telling them that, hey, cool, keeping it short, killing the conversation, or leaving, just stay there. Allow yourself to get drained. Allow your soul to feel like it's been sucked out and just sent off into the void or something. So with those two I just talked about, being that you're not physically prepared and the fact that you're not mentally prepared because you're closed-minded. Not saying you're always closed-minded, but maybe just closed-minded to certain situations or certain conversations. The third factor in that would be that you just don't know how to keep a conversation going at all. So if you're just talking just for the sake of talking, you're not really into the conversation, and now you add in, you don't know how to keep a conversation going, what's gonna happen? Most likely, you're gonna be tired from the physical aspect of it, the mental aspect of it, from basically draining yourself because you wanna talk, but you're not really interested, you don't care. So if you don't really care, but you're trying to care, it's no different than trying to force a circle through a triangle. It's not gonna work unless you break it. And by it breaking, I mean you breaking down, which leads to you being drained. So now you're mentally beat up, physically beat up, and emotionally beat up. Because if you don't know how to keep a conversation going, now as you're talking, you're gonna be believing that, okay, I don't know what to say. I don't know what I'm gonna respond to next. How do I keep it going? Am I being boring? Is this person interested in what I'm talking about? How do I do this? How do I say that? When should I do this? When should I say that? And now you're overthinking, and that just leads to a plethora of you just not even wanting to try it anymore at all. Now we just sitting here, you here with me as I'm about to help you get through this problem. So let's really get into how I can help you stop burning out in conversation, because I learned how to do it too, and now you can too. So the main thing first is the physical aspect of it, because if you can't physically endure it, you're not gonna be able to get through it. That should have rhymed, but it didn't. But besides that, the way you can physically get through it is by training. I know it sounds weird. Like, oh no, I have to lift weights. No, hear me out. Remember what I said when I said you use more than just your mouth to talk. You use your mouth, lungs, etc., face muscles, etc., etc. Use all of that to talk, right? So with this, you have to train your mind and your body to be able to do that. So first, we're gonna start with the body. It's very simple. To train your body to be able to speak longer without burning out, all you have to do is read out loud every single day. That simple. That simple. And I'll tell you why that helps and how it helps. If you're a guy, if you're more on the quiet side, you don't really talk to people that much or that long every day. Maybe you'll talk to somebody every other day or have a long conversation every other week. It's a good chance that you're not really talking on the daily. And if a muscle isn't being used all the time, what happens to it? It begins to weaken. And if you do this for years and years at a time, your voice is gonna become so weak to the point to where you try to talk and nobody hears you. You try to yell. They may hear you, but most likely not really, because I did that for a long time and it sucks badly. And that's why I'm here helping you today, because I went through it and now I'm gonna help you get through it. But with the reading out loud, it's more so to prep you for talking for longer periods of time. When you read, it's no different than talking. The only difference is with talking, you're using your mind to say what you're gonna say. But with the reading, you're like guiding your eyes as you're reading the page or reading the words on the page. On top of that, it's also gonna help you be able to physically focus as you're talking. So let's say you're reading the page, you're reading the words. It's gonna help you physically get better at focusing on the person you're talking to without getting distracted. So ideally, if you're gonna take this path and just try reading every day, I would suggest reading start out 1 minute a day. Once 1 minute gets easy to you, bump it up to 2, then bump it up to 5 minutes, then bump it up to 10. And then the longest I would say bump it up to would be 10 to 15. That's the longest you should go. Because at that point, you're not really gonna be talking for 15 minutes straight unless you're giving some kind of lecture, or maybe you're trying to do public speaking or giving a speech. In that case, if that's something you're interested in, I can do a video on that later. Just drop a comment and I got you on that. But besides that, this also helps you to be able to speak longer, condition your voice to be able to talk longer, gets you more comfortable with using your voice. And on top of that, it can help you with vocal volume, meaning that if you read out loud, it gets you more comfortable with reading louder. Well, not reading louder, speaking louder. And that way, now you have all of these benefits just from doing one simple thing, which is reading out loud daily. So for the mental aspect of keeping the conversation going without burning out, personally, I came up with this a while back. I call it the Vows of conversating, which is, it's there to help you mentally be prepared to get through conversations easily. So if you're not sure what vows are just like in the ABCs. You have A, E, I, O, U. Those are the vowels. But in this case, it's more like a acronym where each letter has its own word behind it. Let me show you. So the A being authentic. So if you're in a conversation and you're being anything other than who you know you should be, you're not being yourself. You're being who you think you should be, meaning that most likely you're being a vending machine. You're becoming who the person wants you to be, or who you think the person would like more instead of being yourself. If you struggle with being authentic, the easiest thing to do would be to show up naked. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm gonna have to say pause. Because when I say show up naked, I mean show up as who you are without anything. Not butt naked, I mean as in who you are without money, who you are without looks, who you are without hair, who you are without everything. Just take everything away. If you take everything away, who are you at your core? That's who you should be each and every day. Whether you're alone, with family, friends, co-workers, that's it. Just show up as that person. And if you're not sure how to show up as that person, all you have to do is be who you are when nobody's looking. Once you begin to do that, your life will become a lot easier because now you don't have to think about how you should be, rather how you know you should be, because that's who you are. Instead of hiding it or being ashamed of it, just be who you are. And you take that into a conversation, people will be more open to you, because wouldn't you rather somebody accept you for who you are instead of accepting who they think you should be? Or this fake persona you created to try to be somebody to impress other people? I would rather you be rejected for who you are instead of being accepted for who you're not. You feel me? And on top of that, if you try to fake it or fake it till you make it to be somebody you're not, people can see that from a mile away. And on top of that, that facade is see-through, and once somebody impress you, you'll fold. You'll fold because that's not who you are. But if you show up as who you are each and every time, nobody can question you, nobody can doubt you, and you'll just fully be you. So the next vowel we're gonna talk about is E, which is for engage in the conversation. Because I'm sure you've done this before, where you've passively been in a conversation, somebody talking to you, and you're not engaging, you're not doing this, looking, dead set, looking at them. You're not doing anything. You're not replying back really. They talking, da 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 da, and you just looking. You're not, anything like that. So how do you engage in a conversation? To engage in a conversation is literally pretty much two things you really can do. The first being listening. The second being speaking. And by speaking, I mean you can speak verbally and you can speak with your body. I'll give you an example. So let's say I'm talking to you right now and you're talking about, let's say, fishing. We're talking about catching some bluegills because that's the biggest fish on the planet. And we're talking about that. You're saying, yep, when I caught 3 bluegills yesterday. You just say, I caught 3 bluegills yesterday. What I'm gonna do? That's cool. But you see, I didn't just sit there like, yeah. No. If I just sat there like, yeah. Like no, not really moving, just like a potato chip or a potato just sitting there, it's gonna be kind of awkward a little bit. And you're not really gonna think that I care about what you're talking about or that I'm interested in what you're talking about, even though I am, but I'm not showing that I am because I'm not showing you through my body language or through my verbal language. And it would also make it seem like I'm not really listening to you, because if I'm not talking back to you, it's a good chance I'm not really listening to you. I may be tuning you out and I'm in my head thinking about something else. That's what it will come across as, even though I am listening to you completely. So when it comes to engaging with people, all you have to do is those two things. All you have to do is listen to the person and actually listen to what they're saying. And then you can reply back after you're done listening to what they're saying. And they'll do the same thing to you if you're doing the same thing to them. It's a respect, mutual type of thing. So it really goes both ways. Because the way that this letter helps you is it helps you to actively be in the conversation. Actively be participating in the conversation. Versus passively being there, because if you're passively in the conversation, you're not really gonna be listening, you're not really gonna be engaged. Most likely you would just be there just to be there. And if you're here watching this channel, I know you're tired of living that type of lifestyle where you're the background character. You're trying to be more, not the main character, but you're trying to be more so up there. You're trying to change your life because you're tired of being pushed aside because you're not sure how to communicate with people. That's why you're here. That's why you're getting better. Let me guess, you're a guy who's serious about elevating his social skills so that you can speak louder, communicate better, and just be your authentic self without changing who you are. If so, I got a message for you. You're a guy who's interested in becoming more socially confident and you want to know more about my program. If that's you, you're in the right place. So the program is called Confidence on Demand. It's designed to help any man go from where they are to where they want to be socially. Whether you're quiet, awkward, shy, don't know how to talk to people, not that good at communicating with people, don't know how to speak loud, all of that covers all of that. In this program, you'll be learning how to speak louder, communicate better, and be yourself without pretending to be somebody that you're not. So if the description of that guy fits you and you want to do something about it instead of just sitting around overthinking it, go ahead and click the link in the description or the pinned comment, and I'll see you on the inside. The next vow we're running through will be the I. The I being interest. By interest, I mean show interest in the person you're talking to. If you're not sure what it really means to show interest, it's kind of self-explanatory, but you show interest not only in the person, but also the conversation. But let me put this out there. This would only be if it's somebody you want to talk to and a conversation you're willing to have. Because if they're talking about pig poop or the protein in cow manure, I don't want to talk about that, and I'm sure you don't want to talk about that. So you come up to me talking about, yeah, you know, it's 25 grams of protein for plants and cow manure. I'm gonna say, oh, okay, that's nice to know. Sure, I'm not gonna have a full conversation with you, but if you come up to me talking about fishing, like, hey, have you ever tried to catch a catfish? Like, I love fishing. Did you ever try to catch a catfish? Yeah, I'm gonna be fully engaged in a conversation. I'm gonna be interested. How do you know I'm interested in that conversation? I'm gonna be asking questions, not only about the topic, but also the person. And that's how you show interest in a conversation. Ask questions. But when you ask questions, don't just make it like an interview. Like, let's use the example of the catfish. If you say, hey, Ryan, you ever caught a catfish? I'm gonna say no, but I'd love to catch one. And then you say, oh, have you ever caught a bluegill? Nah. Well, yeah, I have. I've caught a lot. You say, oh, have you caught bass? Yeah, I have. And you just keep asking me different questions instead of going deeper. That's gonna seem like an interview. But you want to say, hey, Ryan, you ever caught a bluegill? Yeah. Oh, when did you catch your first bluegill? Oh, I caught it such and such, such and such. Oh, dang, that's nice. How many did you catch? Oh, I caught about 20 my first time, 15 the second time. Oh, so you're doing real good with catching bluegills. Yeah, they're pretty easy to catch. Oh, wow, what other fish have you caught? You see how I went deeper with the conversation with myself? I know it sounds weird that I'm role playing with myself, but you get what I'm saying. But you see how the conversation went deeper instead of going wider, interview-based style. That's how you really just show that you're interested in the conversation, by just asking questions about the person and about the topic at hand. And then once the topic dries out, go to the next topic. Maybe they'll bring it up, maybe you'll bring it up, but that's all you do. That's how you connect with people easily. Now we're gonna talk about the O. The O being open-minded. And I know that's not what you wanted to hear. Oh, Ryan, I don't want to talk about things that I have no idea about. I don't want to talk about things that other people are interested in. If that's you, there's a good chance you might be closed-minded. You might be selfish. And do you want me to tell you why I may be calling you closed-minded and selfish? Because that used to be me. I'm guilty. I used to be that person too, where I didn't care about really talking about other people's lives. I didn't really care about being interested in other people's lives or being open to listening about other people's lives or things that they're doing. Like, yeah, sometimes you really don't need to be, but at the same time, that's how you learn about people. On top of, that's how you can get to create new experiences with people, by being open to them. Because if I was never open to, let's say, fishing or learning about fishing, I never would have started. I never would have done it, along with many other experiences. And I'm sure the same has happened to you, where you may have missed the opportunity because you were closed-minded. You weren't open to it. But just because you may be closed-minded now doesn't mean that you have to be closed-minded forever. It's a process, but one day at a time, one step at a time. If you're a closed-minded man, all you have to really do is just look at the possibilities. Not in an anxious, negative way, but more so, what could happen if I do this? Let's see what happens. But the reason that open-minded is really on here is because when you are closed-minded to a conversation or a situation, it pretty much shuts you down mentally. Not as in drains you, but it just shuts you down. Like, you just shut everything out, any possibility of anything. You shut it out fully. And once you do that, anybody that tries to talk to you about something you're not interested in, you're not open to, but you still force yourself to open up to it, not even open up to it, you force yourself to engage in that conversation anyway, because maybe you're a people pleaser. You're a person that doesn't want to have people mad at you. You don't want to have people upset at you. So you're like, yeah, I'm gonna just talk to the person because I don't want them to feel bad about me not talking to them about this topic. And now you're sitting here, you're talking to this person. Now you got somebody else you're talking to. Then you got somebody else, then somebody else. Now at the end of the day, you're fully drained because you talked about a whole bunch of stuff you don't care about, versus just being honest, speaking your mind and going about that. But if you were to have been open-minded to the conversation, like maybe I can learn something from this conversation, or maybe somehow this conversation can lead to something else, you would have been more open to it. You've been like, oh, you would actually have shown interest in the conversation, because now you're like, this could lead to something else. Not in a selfish way, but more of a growth type of way. Like maybe this conversation could help me get better at talking to people. Maybe this conversation can help my social skills. Maybe it can help me speak louder or be better at talking to women, or whatever it may be, whatever your goal is right now, the conversation could aid in that. But you would never know if you were closed-minded, because also if you're closed-minded to something like that, to conversations, it's gonna show in your body. You're gonna come across as maybe nonchalant, like you don't care. Maybe your eyes will be dropped like this. And everybody knows if you have that face, everybody knows you don't wanna talk, or the person you're talking to feels like they're annoying you and they're gonna leave and not talk to you. And the U being for understanding. When you seek to understand people, it makes the conversation way easier, and it also makes connecting with people a lot better, because now it's like, okay, I'm gonna listen to understand instead of listen to respond. It makes your life a lot easier. And if you take all of these together, it just makes conversating a lot easier. It gives you that mental space to be able to do what you need to do, to say what you need to say, and to be able to be yourself without worrying at all. The understanding part is kind of self-explanatory, but I'll break it down just a little bit for you. So if you're talking to somebody, remember what I said, it's two things you'll most likely do, which would be listen and speak. So if you're listening to understand and speaking to understand, that means that you're only talking to give value to the other person, versus talking just for the sake of talking because maybe you like hearing your own voice. And you don't want to be that kind of guy. Trust me, you don't. Because when I learned how to talk, I became that guy for a short period of time, but kicked that to the curb. But I'm saying that to you because when you master A-E-I-O-U, or the vowels, your social life will become 100 times better, because through experiments and all of that, I learned how to use all of this, and that's what created all of this. Or that's what created this framework method for the mental side of it. It helps a lot. But let me tell you how all of it comes together. So let's say if you were done watching this video and you decide, hey, I'm gonna go out and go talk to people, right? I'm ready. I just watched Ryan's video. I'm ready. I'm finna go get it. Man, that's good, but hold on. This is how it would look when you're talking to somebody. Let's say you've already began reading your book, reading paragraph, whatever you wanna read for however long. You've been doing this every day for a couple of days. Now you want to take the mental step out and go try it out. So you go out, you're going to be authentic. Okay. You're like, okay, I'm going to go just be myself if I'm talking to people. Okay. And you say, okay, let me add in the E. I'm going to engage with these people. I'm going to engage with them by showing that I'm interested. I'm going to be interested in them by being open-minded. I'm going to be open-minded by understanding this person. So now you're authentically engaged by being interested in other people, by being open-minded to understanding that person. Now you're able to fully just talk to the person and you won't be burned out. You may be tired the first couple of times after you get used to it, but you won't be completely burned out as if you've just run a marathon for 20 miles and you never run a day in your life. But don't get me wrong, you may be still a bit tired, but you would be the good type of tired because you trained for this, and you'd be more on the upside instead of the down type. But hey, if this video helped you, be sure to check out the next video on how to keep a conversation going. You'll learn the technical part of it outside of the psychological part of it, and that should help you a good bit. Until then, see you in my next video. Take care.